Yo, it's time to subscribe to Paid to Be Famous. What are you doing?
Subscribe to Paid to Be Famous.
Subscribe to Paid to Be Famous. Like the video. Come on.
Hell
you know
yeah.
the drill.
Button.
And slap that like button.
This Void Titan build was always good, but it is now even better. We're going to be taking advantage of the Mask of the Quiet One exotic helmet that Bungie just buffed at the beginning of episode Revenant Act 1. It allows us to take advantage of Devour, Overshield, Void Breaches, Suppression, Volatile, and Weaken, on top of insane uptime of all of our abilities. Guardians, it's time to break out that box of crayons because we're going to be eating good with this Void Titan build, so let's get into it. This build's going to be revolving around the Mask of the Quiet One, like I said earlier. Bungie reworked it. The exotic perk Dreaded Visage now reads, grants ability energy when you are damaged. While you have a Void super equip, rapid final blows and final blows while critically wounded grant Devour. If you know anything about Destiny 2, you know that Devour is one of the best abilities in the game. It's going to instantly replenish some of your health, and it's going to give us grenade energy back, allowing us to spam our grenades as much as possible. For the subclass setup, we're going to be using the new Twilight Arsenal super ability, where we can summon 3 axes and throw them at your foes, one after the other. The axes will pull in nearby allies and detonate in a weakening explosion. And once you throw the 3 axes, you'll be able to pick them up and throw them again, which is really cool. And you can actually use the axes as a melee weapon as well. For the abilities, we're taking the Rally Barricade, just because it has a base cooldown of 38, and the Towering Barricade is 1 minute and 10 seconds, so Rally Barricade is looking a lot better for us. For our melee, we're taking the Shield Throw, where we can hurl the Void Shield towards a target, and the shield will actually ricochet just like Captain America off surfaces, and it will grant us Overshield for each target that we hit, and it can ricochet up to 4 times. And each hit will give us 15 hit points of an Overshield, which is why I really like the Shield Throw right here. Then for our grenade, we are taking the Suppressor Grenade, an explosive grenade that suppresses, preventing targets from using abilities for a short time. And we're also going to be taking advantage of a fragment that will allow our grenades to actually weaken. So we'll actually get a 2-for-1 with this, a suppressing effect and a weaken effect all in our one grenade. Then for our aspects, the first one we're taking is Controlled Demolitionist. Hitting a target with a Void ability or Volatile Explosion makes them volatile. Further damage to a volatile target causes them to explode. Grants you and nearby allies health when volatile targets explode near you. Triggering a Volatile Explosion restores 90 HP to yourself and allies within 40 meters, so there's quite a bit of distance where everybody on your team is going to be getting more health. Controlled Demolitionist is really good. You can activate it with your grenade, you can activate it with your melee. Then for our second aspect, we are taking Offensive Bulwark. While you have an Overshield or are inside your Ward of Dawn, our grenade is going to charge significantly faster, and we will have increased melee range and damage. Melee final blows restore a small portion of Overshield and extend its duration. So we are going to need to build heavily into our Void Overshield, because when we get that Overshield up, we are going to get a 400% increase to our grenade ability recharge, and we're going to get a 100% increase to our melee damage, and it will increase our melee lunge distance by 5.5 meters. And the little icing on the cake for Offensive Bulwark is that if we're actually out of our shield throw, as long as we have a Void Overshield, our uncharged melee will count as a melee ability. And remember, any Void ability will cause volatile, aka our uncharged melee abilities will now just cause any enemy to become volatile, which is really nice. Now getting into our fragments, the one good thing about the Mask of the Quiet One is we no longer have to waste a fragment slot on one of the fragments that activates Devour. So in any other Void build without the Mask of the Quiet One, we would have to take Echo of Starvation if we're going to want to activate Devour. But since we don't have to do that anymore, we got one more slot we can pick with a different fragment. And first up, we're taking Echo of Vigilance. Defeating a target while your shields are depleted grants you a temporary Void Overshield. Remember, our Offensive Bulwark is going to rely on us building into our Void Overshield, so that is why we're taking Echo of Vigilance. Then we're also going to take Echo of Persistence. Void buffs applied to you, such as Overshield and Devour, have increased duration. So now we're going to have that Overshield for a lot longer, and we'll have Devour devour up for a lot longer. Then we're taking Echo of Undermining. Your void grenades weaken targets. And this is how we're going to get our suppressor grenade to not only suppress, but now it weakens. And any target that is weakened is going to be taking 15% more damage from all sources. Then up next, we have the Echo of Domineering. After suppressing a target, you gain greatly increased mobility for a short duration, and your equipped weapon is reloaded from reserves. Defeating a suppressed target creates a Void Breach. This is really nice because Void Breaches are going to grant us class ability energy, allowing us to spam our barricade that much more. And each Void Breach pickup is going to grant us 12.5% of our class ability back. Now for our weapons, I'm taking the Lost Signal Grenade Launcher, the Aerial Denial Frame. I've got auto loading and demolitionist on it. We already have that crazy grenade ability regen, but with demolitionist, you get this back even faster, especially if you have devour up at the same time. You get a crazy amount of grenade energy back on kills. Then for our primary, I am taking Word of Crota, and the only reason I'm taking this is because I have repulsor brace and destabilizing rounds. This is just an insane combo in PvE, and Repulsor Brace is kind of a must-have for this build because defeating a Void debuff target grants us that overshield. And remember, this build is all about the overshield. The more uptime we have on our overshield, the more abilities we'll be able to spam. Now, this build will already allow us to make pretty much everything volatile, so having destabilizing rounds is just that cherry on top to where we get a final blow with the Word of Crota, and all the nearby targets are going to become volatile, thus activating Repulsor Brace for that overshield. Then in our power slot, we are taking the Tractor Cannon, and the only reason we're taking this is because this also suppresses enemies. So the Tractor Cannon is going to activate the Echo of Domineering, creating Void Breaches for us, and our Suppressor Grenade is going to activate Echo of Domineering. And on the artifact, we're also going to be using Served Cold, where picking up a Void Breach grants you melee energy. So now these Void Breaches are granting us class ability energy, which they always do, but with this artifact, we're now getting melee energy too. So now each Void Breach is a 2-for-1 melee and class ability energy. And then I also have on Supernova on the artifact. Picking up a Void Breach causes your next source of void damage to create a large weakening pulse. I also have Concussive Reload, using a grenade launcher to damage a boss, damage a champion, or break a combatant shield weakens them. And if you drink the tonic to boost this, it will automatically reload your stowed weapons. Then we have Power from Pain. Rapid final blows against weakened combatants grants you Devour. So this is just another avenue of getting Devour up. It's not too reliable, but it's just some extra icing on the cake. And those are really all the necessary artifact perks. You can switch up any of these other ones to whatever you want. Now getting into our armor mods, on the helmet, I've got Hands On. So we'll get more super energy every time we get a kill with our shield throw. And I also have Ashes to Assets. We're going to get more super energy every time we get a grenade kill. And then we're using some void weapons, so we got that Harmonic Siphon to create an orb after we get a couple final blows with the void weapon. On the gauntlets, I have a melee kickstart. Whenever we fully expend our melee energy, our stacks of armor charge is going to be consumed and we'll instantly get melee energy back. We're going to be building into getting more melee energy back because with the offensive bulwark aspect, we have that crazy regen on our grenade anyways, so we don't need to build into our grenade really. And since we have that crazy fast regen on our grenade, I'm taking firepower, so our grenade final blows will create an orb of power. Then on the chest, I got 2 charged up mods, so it'll increase the maximum number of stacks, so now we can get 5 armor charges. And then I got a void reserve, but you can take a resistant mod if you need to. Then on the boots, we got stacks on stacks. Picking up an orb of power now grants you 1 additional stack. Then we have Invigoration to reduce our melee cooldown when we pick up an orb, and Recuperation to replenish our health when we pick up an orb. On the class item, we have a Reaper mod, so after we pop our class ability, that will create an orb when we get a weapon final blow after doing that. And we have 2 Outreach mods, once again, just to build into getting our melee back after using our class ability. And that is going to do it for the build, everybody. I will put a dim link in the description down there if you guys want to go try this build out. It's actually a really good build. If you guys are new here, need more Destiny 2 in your life, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a like if you found this helpful, follow me over on Twitch and TikTok for the live streams, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Peace.